In my absence this week, I wanted to go through and kind of narrate for you a Facebook campaign called Stand With Them. This is close to me because I'm the one who started this campaign. It was done shortly after the Sandy Hook Elementary massacre. And kind of the backstory to that is that on the very same, the day before that happened, I happened to be at my daughter's middle school to meet with her counselor on where she's going to do, what she's going to do with high school, that kind of thing. And she went to Pineview Middle School, and her school's kind of funky in terms of how it's oriented to the main street. The main entrance to the school is not on the main street. Instead, hallway access doors are on the main street there, and that's how I accessed the school. I just walked into the main office door or hallway doors, and the bell rang and the classes emptied, and I was in a sea of kids kind of up to my shoulders, as I was looking for the counseling office. Anyway, long story short, I thought that was a little weird that I could just walk in there. Anybody could just walk in there. And then later on, the Sandy Hook massacre happened, and that just really affected me deeply, gravely, in fact. And I was really very concerned about the school where my daughter attended. So I decided to volunteer as a parent and to stand outside my daughter's middle school during the most vulnerable time of the school, and that is when that's in the morning, when people are dropping kids off and everybody's getting ready for class, and there's that whole morning shuffle thing going on. And in doing that, I decided to create a social media campaign. And so I went through and designed a little profile here, Stand With Them. I photographed me standing along with my daughter here. This is at the school, just as an icon to give the page some kind of a culture that way. I didn't do a hashtag or anything at the time. That really wasn't prevalent in terms of getting messages out. But while I stood there, I would go through and upload posts. I also got pretty active within the community. I started a class on threat assessment. Rowdy's Range, a local gun range here in St. George, sponsored the class in teaching, especially school teachers, how to go through and recognize threat and escalation within their students or within anybody, really, within their purview that way. So as I scroll through this, you can see I was pretty regular in terms of posting. What's interesting, this was in 2013. This is 5 years ago, really today, here when I was working with this campaign. What was interesting about this, I'm going to scroll down and go all the way to the first post. And it's down here a little bit ways. Here we go. So started on December 17. There's the old guy. Let me read this to you just to kind of give you context. I decided today to do something beyond social media. I dressed for the winter weather, left the house this morning, and went to my daughter's school where I stood sentinel for a couple of hours. No big deal. I checked in at the office to let them know what I was doing, and the reply was, "Oh, don't you worry, you're safe here," or "It's safe here." And that's the problem. I met the principal and the police officer on duty and told them my intentions, for which I had their full support. I stood there in front where I could see the two sets of hallway doors that led into the classroom areas, and I watched. See, the school is vulnerable because those doors are unlocked all day, and my daughter is in there somewhere in a classroom. So I'm asking you to stand with me, with them, whomever you decide they are, your own kids, your grandkids, neighbor kids, church kids, any kids. Go to their school, check in, and let them know your intentions, and stand for a while. Please like this page, share it, comment, and post about your standing. And then I did an update. To update Tuesday, and since the doors were locked at the beginning of the first period, these doors locked from the outside and open from the inside as building code dictates. I have the support of the school's administration, the school district, and local law enforcement. On occasion, the school's law enforcement officer stands with me. I'm volunteering, committed to do so daily when school is in session for the school year. I've started this post on Facebook page to encourage others to do the same following their school's protocol for parent volunteers. Okay, so I put that up. I got over 4,000 shares. 22,000 people were go away. Were notified in this. Eventually, it went to 100,000 individuals within 3 days, and this page took off that way. And I went through and posted some tips and things to do. Make sure that you check in and how to engage people with what's going on. I did some research. This from Mother Jones. This is where I first found the Mother Jones article that I've posted for this week's module here, Guide to Mass Shootings in America, something you need to take a look at there as we talk about this whole concept for this week. Here's the doors there, and so December 18th, this was a day later, the doors were locked. So some ground was being gained, and certainly they were starting to take things a little bit more seriously. I did this for 3 months, stood in front of the school, and with my schedule as a teacher at Dixie State, I had some flexibility in being able to go through and do this kind of work. And eventually parents would drop off hot chocolate or hot coffee to me while I was waiting outside. I got a gift or two during Valentine's Day. It became I can't say that. It didn't become a movement because nobody else did it. Nobody else stood with me. Nobody else stood with me at Pineview. Nobody else stood with me at any school across the nation. And the response I had to this was national. And the responses, you can go through and take a look and see and scroll through them. They ranged from, wow, you're a great person and I think it's really cool, to, well, you're the first person I'm going to kill when I storm your school. But I never had a response saying, I'm with you. Here's a shot of me standing in front of my kid's school. It just didn't happen. And I think there's an underlying component to that and to our attitudes with gun violence here in the United States. Here's the shot. Once they put up the sign here, the doors are locked during school hours, please enter through the south doors. So really, for all my efforts, for whatever it was worth, this is about the only payoff we had, which was good. At least they were taking their security a little bit more seriously. But that's it. That's all that happened as a result of this campaign. And now, 5 years later, as we come off of the wake of yet another massacre in another school, we're still not doing a whole lot.